Linear algebra, the backbone of data science calculations. Let's try to understand what are the 9 must-know concepts of linear algebra which will make your life easy in understanding data science calculations.
So what we are going to do is we are going to understand 9 linear algebra concepts that we use quite often in data science. Okay, so one by one I'm going to write the concepts here, show you a Python code snippet, and give you one example of where it is used in the machine learning and data science world. Okay, so first of all, guys, the very first concept that you should know and you should be aware of is scalars and vectors. Okay, don't confuse between what are scalars and what are vectors. If I go here and write a number 3, this has only magnitude, no direction. Hence, it becomes scalar. If I go here and write something such as 3, 2, in both the forms, you can consider it 3, 2. Okay. So here I am writing the magnitude and the direction both. Hence, it becomes a vector. So if you have only magnitude, that's a scalar. If you have magnitude and direction both, that becomes a vector. How do you define a vector in Python? So you simply go here and you can simply say numpy.array 235, that becomes your vector. So this is a vector now. Why? Because it has magnitude and direction both. Scalar, very simple to understand. Now, in which kind of situation you will use vector? So that also we can understand. For example, suppose I'm collecting features of my model. This is my feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, feature 4. Okay. So my feature 1, I will store all these values and I will call this as feature 1 vector. Okay. So whatever I'm highlighting here, this will be my feature 1 vector in red color. Similarly, if I put some values here, this could be my feature 2 vector. Okay. And suppose if I want to take property of one user or one row of the data, right? Then if I take from here to here, that becomes my vector for one user. Okay, so that is the concept of vectors and scalars. Now the second concept I want you to understand is something known as concept of matrix. Okay, so matrix is again a very simple thing to understand. Matrix is basically nothing but rectangular arrangement of your numbers. So here if you pay attention, right, I am saying that this is my first kind of vector and this is my second vector. Similarly, this could be my third vector. But end of the day, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to put all these information inside a rectangular arrangement. Okay. Inside a rectangular arrangement, I am putting my numbers. So when I do that, what I'm creating or what I'm generating is nothing but a matrix. So what is the definition of a matrix? Keep it very simple. A rectangular arrangement of numbers. So for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a matrix. This is a 2 cross 2 matrix. Okay, 2 rows and 2 columns. It can be of any size, but the idea is pretty simple. When you arrange numbers in rectangular arrangement, that becomes a metric. And if I go to Python and I simply say I have to create a np.array like this, Python will automatically think that it's a metric and it will tell this is your metric. Okay. Once you have created the metric, right, you will want to multiply two metrics or you will want to do certain metrics operation. For example, this is my matrix. So what I can do is I can multiply a number, let's say 3, with all the elements of this matrix. Okay, so this will be 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, this is my one of the matrix operation. Similarly, what I can do is I can subtract another metric with this metric. So I can take another metric, let's say 2, 5, 6, 7. I can simply subtract this metric with the previous one or add. These are called different metric operation. Pay attention here, the size of metric A and metric B is same. Okay, for these operations to happen. In the same line, there is a very important concept known as matrix multiplication. And how do you multiply metric is basically, for example, this is your metric 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is your metric, for example, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And if I tell you to multiply these two metric, how you will go is you will multiply here like this and here like this. So first element of the metric will be 1 multiplied by 5 plus 2 multiplied by 7. This is the first element of your metric. Similarly, 1 multiplied by 6 plus 2 multiplied by 8 will be second element of your metric, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if you see, I'm going like this and going like this. Same thing, Python can do it very easily for you. So here what I'm doing is I'm just taking 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, same metric I'm taking. And the first number that I have computed here, right? If you compute here, right, you will see that this is 19, and second number that I have taken here will be 22. Okay, and third number and fourth number. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to multiply two metric here. For example, if you see from here to here, this is my A metric, this is my B metric. What I'm trying to do, I'm just calling a function called np dot ab, and it is giving me multiplied metric result. Please remember, this concept is extremely important whenever you want to tune neural network, whenever you want to run linear regression, whenever you want to decompose metric, multiply metric, project your metric in other direction, anything. So matrix multiplication you must remember very, very well, or to say metric operation in general. Okay, so I will say matrix operations. Now the fourth concept I want you to remember is something known as identity matrix. Okay, I have seen that many people do not understand the concept of what is an identity metric. It's very, very simple concept, guys. Metric always comes with a size, and if you ask NumPy to give identity metric, that is basically like this. Okay, if you ask NumPy, give me identity matrix of size 3, what NumPy is going to give you is a 3 cross 3 matrix where all the diagonal elements will be 1 and rest all elements will be 0. Okay, so something like this. This is basically called as an identity matrix because on the diagonal all the elements are 1 and other elements are 0. Why I am telling this concept is important again? In the world of metrics, you will want to transform metrics. You will want to repurpose metric for other purposes. In that case, you will always use the concept such as identity metric, orthogonal metrics, and things like that. So if I go to Python here, as I was telling you, and I say give me identity matrix of size 3, this is exactly the same thing that Python gives us. Okay. Another important concept to know here is known as detriment of a metric. Okay, so I will write here detriment of a metric. Detriment of a metric is a very simple to understand concept, but I see that some people either forget or some people are not able to recall. Okay, so ABCD is a square matrix. The detriment of this metric is very simple, AD minus BC. Okay, this is your detriment of this metric. Now, whatever this number is, right, this number is your detriment of the metric. Why it is important? It is important because until or unless you have a non-zero detriment in your metric, right, there are few restrictions, there are few things that you cannot perform. And in Python, how you can do detriment is very simple. You simply write your metric and say np.lineage detriment, and it will give you the detriment. Okay, linear algebra here, LINALG. Okay, linear algebra dot detriment, and it will give you detriment. So if you see here 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So we can see that it is basically diagonal element multiplication minus the other diagonal. Okay. And another concept that I want you to remember is basically known as the concept of eigenvalues and eigenvectors. I'm sure you have heard of this concept, eigenvalue and eigenvector. This concept is again pretty simple to understand. Suppose there is a metric A. Okay, suppose there is a metric A. The equation which is being tried to solve here is basically, let's say there is a vector V which when multiplied with A and when multiplied with a scalar lambda, right, both these things are equal. So what I'm saying is these two V's, right, these two V's are called eigenvector for metric A, eigenvector for matrix A. Okay, and lambda is basically eigenvalue for metric A for this eigenvector. Okay, eigenvalue for A related to V. Okay, so what can happen is you can have more than one eigenvalue for a metric. Okay, To give you an example, suppose if my A matrix is something like 2, 1, 1, 2. Okay, suppose this is my A. So the equation that I need to solve is this multiplied by V is equal to lambda times V. So how we have to find eigenvalue basically is detriment of A minus lambda I, where I is the identity metric, is equal to 0. If I solve this equation right, what should happen here is A minus lambda I am talking about, right? So what is my A vector? My A vector is 2, 1, 1, 2. What is my lambda I vector? So I can simply say lambda 0, 0, lambda is equal to 0. Okay, because identity is always 1, 1, 1, right? And then what it will be, if I subtract this, it will be 2 minus lambda 1, 1 minus 0, 1, 2 minus 1, 1. Now if you take detriment of this metric, right, and if you solve this equation for lambda, right, you will get two values of lambda. And when you get two values of lambda, right, the equation that you need to solve, suppose you get lambda 1 and lambda 2. Okay, so the equation which you need to solve here is basically A minus lambda I multiplied by V is equal to 0. So this V is what we need to find out. Lambda is already we have found out from the above equation. A and I we know already. If you solve this right, what you will have is lambda 1 V1 and lambda 2 V2. This is one set of eigenvalue and eigenvector. This one, and this is another set of eigenvalue and eigenvector. How it is useful? How it is useful in the world of matrices? This is very, very useful when you want to transfer your matrix to a different plane, or you want to do some kind of transformation of your vectors, transformations of your metric, things like PCA, things like SVD and all those areas. Okay, it is very easy to do in Python. So if you see here, I have taken these vectors, eigenvalues, eigenvector done, and then it will give you two eigenvalues, okay, and two eigenvectors. This is a very important concept that you should remember, very important from PCA point of view. Okay. The another concept that you should understand here is something known as singular value decomposition, or SVD. Suppose you have a very large matrix. Okay, you have a very large matrix and it is becoming difficult to manage that matrix. So suppose you have a large matrix A. What singular value decomposition tells you is, I will break this A into three matrix U, sigma, and V, and basically VT comes here. Okay, so what happens in singular value decomposition is this U and this V both are your orthogonal metric, and this sigma is basically diagonal metric of singular values. Okay, so I will write here orthogonal metric U and VT and diagonal metric of singular value, diagonal metric of singular value. So your A is broken into three sub-metric and it is now easier to manage. Okay, this is, I can create a detailed video on this topic. If you drop me a comment and say that you want video on this topic, I can create that. But this type of application is in recommendation engine, some semantic analysis, right? These kind of scenarios, this is an important concept. How you can do in Python is very simple, like this. So as I told you, I'm giving original metric. S stands for sigma and V stands for BT. So if I give like this in Python, this is your U metric, singular metric, and VT. Okay, three metrics we are getting from this one metric. Okay, that is singular value decomposition. The second last concept that you should always remember or pay attention to is known as principal component analysis, known as PCA. Okay, PCA is basically a combination of 4 or 5 steps that you need to keep in mind. And I'll just write here 4 to 5 steps. What happens in PCA is basically, first of all, your data will get standardized. Okay, standardized data, whatever matrix you supply. Okay, the second thing that will happen is compute covariance matrix. Okay, compute covariance matrix. Third thing that will happen is compute eigenvalue and eigenvector. So eigenvalue and eigenvector is what we learned now. Fourth step, what happen is sort by descending eigenvalue. Okay. And fifth will be transform the data. So what happens as part of PCA is from the given metric or from the given data, we create principal components of. So for example, this is your metric of, let's say, M cross N size. From this metric, what we will compute is we will compute principal component 1, principal component 2, and principal component N. Okay, these are the principal components, and on these principal components, this metric can be projected. Okay, so on a new dimension, metric can be projected. Now, PCA is a very deep concept. That is the reason I have created a dedicated video for this topic. Okay, so if you go to YouTube and if you search for Unfold Data Science PCA, okay, you will get a detailed video on this topic, principal component analysis, and you can learn about this here. So if you can see around 100K views and half an hour video, okay. So you can watch this video to get a full idea of how PCA works. So that is another concept in the world of linear algebra that you should remember. And last concept that you should remember in the world of linear algebra, apart from all these things, is how the transformations work. Okay, transformations meaning how do I project my metric to a different axis? How do I project a metric to different feature space? How do I project a metric to different kind of environment? So basically what I'm saying is what is happening in PCA and is basically transformation, projection to a different axis. So how that is happening, if you understand right, that will become very important and easy for you to understand the concepts of linear algebra. Okay, so all these are small but pretty important concepts, and if you know the fundamentals of these, right, then many of the advanced techniques in the world of deep learning, in the world of neural networks, in the world of advanced NLP, right, it will be very easy for you to grasp. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, guys. See you all in the next video. Wherever you are, stay safe and take care.